Well, guys, this is usually not the spot that the main event player would be at. Normally, I would be inside doing my usual main event talk, but I felt the need to come outside a little bit, had to look at my surroundings, my facilities, and everything, try a little bit something different, and I did. So, I'm outside, backyard, just looking at the stars, clouds, trees. Oh, look, a birdie. Welcome to this very special edition of the Main Event Talk. I'm back at you on YouTube. It's been a long time since the Main Event has done any Main Event Talks at all. Last one I did was about the late great Owen Hart. That was a tremendous episode and everything else like that. Got a few people, asking me about, how I know Owen Hart and all this other stuff. Here's the thing. I'm just going to let this all out right here, right now. I don't really know Owen Hart. I just remember, part of the past that happened a long time ago with Owen Hart. So, it was real tragic, still about what happened to him May 23rd, 1999. So it was very tragic to talk about. But if you haven't had a chance to look at it or hear it, go to youtube.com and check out all of my latest videos, including the one about Owen Hart. You'll get a fascinating story and inside scoop about what's going on. But guys, welcome to this very special edition of the Main Event Talk. Once again, I'm the main event player. Before the main event does his little shout outs, I got one shout out in particular that I need to get out of the way, and let's see if I had it here somewhere. Here it is. Cool. I've been wanting to get these guys a shout out for a long time, and I haven't had an opportunity to do it, and I'm going to do it right here, right now. Now, usually on my main event talks, every time when I do something or a shout out in particular, I would shout out anything about a particular band or anybody that I know quite well. I've always talked about the Periwinkle Massacre. I've always talked about Free State, talked about a Shattered Sun. Let's see, the Labeling Theory. Killamora and This Dying Dream. I'm sorry, I forgot about those guys. For the first time, the main event is about to introduce another band. This band's been out in Corpus for quite a while. They live up in San Antonio, Texas, and I had a chance to hear their new CD for the first time. And man, this band is completely badass. Check it out right here, guys. The CD is entitled, let me see if I can get this out right there. There we go. All right. That's Memories in Broken Glass. The CD is entitled Recode, and this CD has been out for the past few days. I had an opportunity to get it from guitarist Justin Garcia. Big shout out to him, and this is his band and everything. And man, I tell you, when I saw it, I got it from him. I had an opportunity to hear the entire CD. Let me tell you something. This CD is a fucking shit. I love it. Had an opportunity to hear it from top to bottom, start to finish. Man, everything on the CD is badass. Everything from Titan to Recode, Meridian, Terra, and one of my all-time favorites on this CD is Neo Earth. This one is, man, I haven't been able to stop listening to that song, Neo Earth. I mean, I've been hearing it almost every time. The best way to describe that song in particular is out of this world. I mean, that's all I can say about the CD at this point. I mean, it is just tremendous. Let me see if I can, I have a CD in here, which I don't really need to display out here. But anyways, this is what everything looks like, As you can tell, you can see, everything out of there and stuff. It looks pretty good. There's all the songs right there. And let me show you the rest of it. Inside out, the CD is supposed to come out in there. That's what it looks like, So, man, when you get a chance, guys, go to Facebook.com. Go to like their Facebook page, Memories in Broken Glass. Also follow them on Twitter. You can also find them on Instagram as well. This CD is badass. Get a chance, get an opportunity to hear it. And I think I don't know if they have the CD out on YouTube yet, but the main event will do something about it when he has the opportunity, when the time is right. So when you guys get a chance, get the CD. It is out in stores now, rated M for mature. Okay, not really. But nonetheless, get an opportunity to get the CD when you can. Also, let me go ahead and get my shout-outs out of the way. Shout out to all the members of the Main Event Posse Netbanger Incorporated that are watching this right now. Speaking of San Antonio, I also want to give a shout out to Israel, my boy. What's going on? How's everything going? To my best friend Stephanie Gonzalez is watching this also. To my friends at Kelsey Friends that are watching this right now. on Facebook and everything. I want to give a big shout out to all my friends in Corpus Christi, Texas. Everyone from McCall's to Cheetahs to the Palace. I also want to give a big shout out to the most famous bar of them all, the bar that I always talk about no matter what, Theo's Billiards. Now, as you know, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to everyone that showed up over at Theo's Billiards this past Friday night. You know that Free State played, Shattered Sun played, and Straight Line Stitch played. And I just want to give a big shout out to everyone. I want to say thank you for everyone for showing up at that event, because let me tell you something. I was so glad that I was over there, and I was so glad that so many people had an opportunity to go over there to not only see Straight Line Stitch, but to see Shattered Sun and Free State as well. I mean, it was tremendous. Everyone was talking about it. Everybody, a lot of old school friends that I haven't seen in a long, long time. My friends, I think my friend Sammy was over there. Let's see, Joel Chapa, he was also over there. There's a lot of friends. My friend Elena was over there also, Hector's sister, and Guile, Jason, her husband, and all that stuff. Hello, how's everything going, guys? And like I said, I just want to say thank you to everyone that showed up at Theo's Billiards for the event. It was badass. I could not believe the response from people that showed up over for the event. Everybody loved the show. Big shout out to everyone over at Theo's Billiards, the bar itself, from Bruce to, I believe, Jeremy, and also to Jasmine Ortiz, who I believe is now officially, I think she's been a Shattered Sun fan for a long time, but I think now she is, because she got a Shattered Sun t-shirt and got herself a CD and a bracelet, and I don't have to tell you who got it for her. But let's just say that, she digged it, she enjoyed it. She also enjoyed Straight Line Stitch. It was the first time she's ever seen it perform live, so big shout out to her. And like I said, a big thank you to everyone that showed up at the event. It was badass, and hopefully in the near future we bring in more bands like Straight Line Stitch to come over to Corpus Christi. I mean, it's about time, and we really need to spread the word out about it. We need to get it all out as much as we can as possible. And I also want to give a shout out to a member of Team Headbanger Incorporated, Richard, who is also the owner of Theo's and now is the owner of a place. We all know it as, formerly known as Jameson's, but now it's called Bone Shakers. The main event has not had the opportunity to go over there yet, but I'm going to get my chance when I can sometime in the near future. Bone Shakers is, like I said, it's formerly Jameson's, and the place, from what I heard, is pretty badass. It's a lot better than Jameson's, and I'm glad for that. And I'm hoping when I get a chance, to go over there, have a look at it, and see how it runs and everything, see how it goes. Hopefully it's not like what Jameson's used to be, because tell you, I've been to Jameson's. It was a badass place, and I've told Richard this, and I know most of you guys are going to hear this from me for the first time. Jameson's, to me, is a good bar, but it really needed to change, in my opinion. I mean, no disrespect to the bar. I just think it needed something different, something that was going to click, And whatever they did, whatever they found that clicked, worked. So hopefully, when I get the opportunity, sometime in the near future, I will go to Bone Shakers and check out how it is. So congratulations go out to Richard, and shout out to him and everything. Now, let's get into what I need to talk about. And what I need to talk about in this edition of the Main Event Talk has a lot to do with Money in the Bank ladder match. Well, Money in the Bank, actually, the pay-per-view itself. Now, the WWE's Money in the Bank has been around for a long, long time. Now, the Money in the Bank match itself, as you guys know, has appeared in WrestleMania. It's always appeared in WrestleMania every year, but now they decided to give it its own pay-per-view. And since that time, the Money in the Bank ladder match pay-per-views have been very, very interesting. I think the first one, was pretty interesting. I think the one in 2010, but the 2011 one was the most interesting. And the reason why I say that one's the most interesting is because of the controversy that happened between CM Punk and John Cena for the WWE Championship. You guys know what happened. CM Punk goes out in Chicago. An entire crowd was all behind CM Punk, and they were all against John Cena. A hostile crowd wanted CM Punk to win the WWE Championship because his contract was going to expire at midnight. He won the championship, and he took off, and then a few weeks later, actually, he came right back to the WWE. So Money in the Bank has its own personal history. And now this year it's going to be a little bit different. Well, a little bit. I mean, it's not going to be as exciting as it once was, but there's a little bit of excitement to it, especially when it comes to the two ladder matches involved, which I'm going to keep that one for last because I want to kind of leave that out of the way. I'm going to talk about the World Heavyweight Championship between Dolph Ziggler and Alberto Del Rio. And let me tell you something. You know, ever since Money in the Bank, no, ever since Payback, I'm sorry, the thing with Alberto Del Rio and Dolph Ziggler, I mean, what the hell happened there? I mean, seriously. I mean, everyone was behind Alberto Del Rio up until Payback. And that Chicago crowd, the same crowd that showed up over at Money in the Bank in 2011, had pretty much changed their point of view of Alberto Del Rio. I mean, one minute you think he's a good guy, and next minute you turn him into a bad guy. All because Dolph Ziggler got his head shot over about 50 million times because of Alberto Del Rio. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to get this out. Everybody knows what happened to Alberto Del Rio when he got his leg hurt, and then Dolph Ziggler took advantage of an opportunity where he cashed in his Money in the Bank, injured his leg, and won the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, in many people's views, I mean, even though that New Jersey crowd went completely nuts over there, they were behind Dolph Ziggler because they wanted him to cash it. They wanted something different. They wanted a new champion, and they got it out of Dolph Ziggler. Now, even though Alberto Del Rio won let me correct that if you don't mind. Even though Alberto Del Rio got his opportunity at the World Heavyweight title, Dolph Ziggler has been away for a while, and he got shot in the head because of Jack Swagger, giving himself a concussion. He'd been out for, like, I think, probably a month or 5 weeks or something like that. And a lot of people were, even though he was medically cleared to wrestle, the question was, could Dolph Ziggler beat Alberto Del Rio? I saw the match, and I'll tell you what, when I kept seeing Dolph Ziggler touch his head, so many times, I said, holy shit. I mean, I really don't see Dolph Ziggler continuing on with the match. I mean, you would also feel sorry for the guy. But at the same time, a lot of people were starting to hate Alberto Del Rio just because he was doing the right thing. And you know what I mean by that? It's quite simple. What happened to Dolph Ziggler, what Alberto Del Rio did to Dolph Ziggler, just some people say it's wrong. But think about what Dolph Ziggler did to Alberto Del Rio. Do you think that was wrong too? I mean, come on. I mean, everybody has their point of view, and it's always the same thing. I mean, Dolph Ziggler comes in, cashes in, takes advantage of a helpless injury, and Alberto Del Rio loses the title to Dolph Ziggler. And the same thing happened at Payback. I mean, Dolph Ziggler, his head, he has a weakness, obviously, and Alberto Del Rio goes right ahead and goes after that head. He goes right ahead and, kicks it so many 50 million times. He almost suffered a concussion right there, and then that was it. Alberto Del Rio beats Dolph Ziggler in a malicious, I think they called it, fashion, and becomes World Heavyweight Champion, and the crowd starts booing him, And I'm like, wow. It's just amazing how the WWE Universe can change their point of view of a person like that in an instant. And don't get me wrong, I mean, you're not going to change my point of view of Alberto Del Rio. I still think he's a great wrestler. And what he did, and JBL can get attest to this, yes, he did take advantage of a situation, but when there's a championship involved, you're going to do whatever it takes. Even if you had to take a sledgehammer, knock the guy out, and beat him in the middle of the ring. Yes, it's wrong, but at the same time, there's a championship on the line. Come on. Anybody would do that, okay? So, nonetheless, Alberto Del Rio, yes, he's a bad guy now. My God. But the toughest thing for me, and for some fans, is Dolph is a good guy? I mean, that's really, really tough to look at because for years, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've never been much of a guy that loves good guys or bad guys because it doesn't mean anything. It's always been about talent and attitude with me. And Dolph Ziggler, he's the most talented of them all. He's the most talented wrestler in all of the WWE. I mean, everybody can agree upon that. But him being a good guy, it's don't get me wrong. I mean, I know the fans dig it, but it's gonna get tough to get used to. But nonetheless, July 14th is the date for the World Heavyweight Championship to be decided. Alberto Del Rio will defend the championship, his rematch against Dolph Ziggler. Will we see the same results, or will we have a new World Heavyweight Champion in the form of Dolph Ziggler. My money, I have to say, would be on Alberto Del Rio because for some odd reason, yes, I would love